General Counsel, is there a quorum?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have a quorum.
Wonderful. Good morning. I'm Ian Valentine, designee for Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch. I'm calling to order the August 2024 meeting of the IHCDA Board of Directors here at the Indiana Housing Conference held at the Indianapolis Marriott downtown. We are meeting pursuant to this board's policy for participation by members of the IHCDA Board of Directors in board meetings by simultaneous electronic communication. This means that only 3 members must be physically present at the site of the meeting and the remaining members may call in. There will be an audio feed for the general public so that members of the public can listen to the meeting, and there will be a link to a video recording posted on IHCDA's website next month. At the time the motions are being made, each board member that makes a motion must state his or her first and last name. For the record, the votes will then be tallied by roll call. I will now take a roll call of the board members to confirm members who are present and their location. Mark Pascarella, designee for State Public Finance Director Dan Hughey.
Present and in the room.
Abby Reddy, designee for Treasurer of State Daniel Elliott.
Present and in the room.
Board member G. Michael Schaffmeyer. I'm guessing you need to unmute.
Sure. He's not.
Oh, well, we've, all right. Andy Place Senior.
Here, remote, please.
Thank you. Chad Greiwe.
Present remote.
Michael Schaffmeyer.
Present remote, Evansville, Indiana.
Thank you. Great. We shall move to our next item of business. Board members were provided the July 25th, 2024 meeting minutes. Does anyone have any changes or corrections? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Mark
Andy Place,
Pascarella,
motion to
so moved.
approve.
Mark Pascarella, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. All those in support. I'll just call the roll. Mark Pascarella.
Aye.
Abby Reddy.
Aye.
Michael Schaffmeyer.
Aye.
Andy Place.
Aye.
Chad Greiwe.
Aye.
Dan Valentine, aye. The motion carries. Next up, please welcome Zach Gross, who will present the supportive services for the Emergency Housing Vouchers Program Award Recommendation Board Memo.
Good morning, board.
Morning.
I have 2 memos in front of you today, and this first one has 2 resolutions. So the supportive services for the Emergency Housing Voucher Program Award will award supportive services that will cover households who are enrolled in the Emergency Housing Voucher Program, which is a special program to provide housing support to individuals and families who are homeless and have high needs. The Balance of State Continuum of Care and the Indianapolis Continuum of Care prioritized those vouchers for households with high vulnerabilities, including mental illness, substance use disorders, and physical disabilities. And so we partnered with the FSSA, Department of Mental Health and Addiction, to provide some supportive services to those households so we can make sure that they're stable and have wraparound support that is crucial into ensuring that they don't go back into homelessness. So IHCDA additionally allocated $5 million in our home ARP program to provide some additional services, because the funds that we were getting from DMHA through the Mental Health Block Grant are amazing, but they do not cover everything that is needed, specifically for households that don't have a diagnosed serious mental illness. Those funds can't be used. So because there may be some folks that don't have that, we wanted to provide some supplemental money to ensure that everybody on those vouchers was receiving some support services. We released an RFQ on June 6, 2024, and that was due on July 8th. We received 3 responses, and we have just over 3.6 million in home ARP funds available and over 2.7 million in mental health block grants available. With these funds, we did prioritize DMHA certified community mental health centers. That was at the request of DMHA because those agencies can bill Medicaid. And so that would be an additional source that's sort of a mainstream benefit that they can continually receive even after these awards will expire. With this award, we did receive only 3, and of those, 1 was applied for the same county as a CMHC. So because of the preference in the selection, we're not recommending that one for funding. And with these, even though it's only two additional awards, that would bring our coverage on this voucher program, which was 723 vouchers in the state, up to 71% of those vouchers covered with some supportive services. So I will pause there for questions.
So this doesn't use up the entirety of the funding sources, correct? So what happens to the remaining funds?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for the mental health block grant funds, we are working with the MHA to figure out the best way to deploy those funds so that we can use those before they expire. We did have, this is I think the third or fourth round of funds that we've put out through this program. So we have had some good interest, but I think the reality is a lot of these vouchers, since people could live anywhere in the state, are very scattered. So there's some counties that only have 3 or 4 households there. And it's very difficult to provide services and make awards on that small of a scale and staff for that. So some of the agencies that are covering those areas have been a little more hesitant to apply for those funds.
Okay.
So we're working with them to determine the best way. We have a few options on the horizon, including using it for some support services on our urban supportive housing programs. And then on the home ARP side, that is what we would do with those funds, is use them for supportive services and urban supportive housing programs. So we've already taken to the board a few months ago an award for support services for those programs and asked for delegated authority to award funds on a wait list. And so we have the ability in our HUD approved allocation plan to just move those funds into that bucket and deploy them that way.
Great, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Okay, we will hear your first resolution.
Staff respectfully requests that the board approve the following resolution. Resolve that the board approve an award of Home Investment Partnerships Program American Rescue Plan funding in the amount of $1,551,920 to the organization set forth in Table A as recommended by staff.
We have a resolution before us. I will entertain a motion.
I'll be ready. Motion to pass.
Mark Pascarella, second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll call the roll. Mark Pascarella,
Aye.
Avi Reddy.
Aye.
Michael Schaffmeyer,
Aye.
Andy Place,
Aye.
Chad Brywe,
Aye.
Ian Valentine, aye. The motion carries. We'll hear your second resolution.
Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolve that the board approve and award a mental health block grant funding in the amount of $1,166,534 to the organization set forth in Table A as recommended by staff.
We have a resolution. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Andy Place, motion for approval.
I'll be ready. Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll call the roll. Mark Pascarella,
Aye.
Avi Reddy.
Aye.
Michael Schaffmeyer,
Aye.
Andy Place,
Aye.
Chad Brywe,
Aye.
Ian Valentine, aye. The motion carries. Thank you. I think we get you still.
Yep.
Zach will now present the Indiana Housing First Program Award Recommendation Board Memo.
So this is for the annual award of Indiana Housing First Program funds. So this is a state-funded program that can provide rental assistance and supportive services for up to 2 years for households who are a serious mental illness or a chemical addiction and are also facing a housing crisis or exiting a residential treatment program. So this is heavily prioritized to those who are exiting residential treatment without anywhere to go, and also folks who are experiencing homelessness and have those issues with substance use and mental illness. I do want to share that in 2023, we served 134 households with this program and had 86% positive exits to permanent housing after the program ends, which for programs like this is a pretty good number that we're getting them connected through the critical time intervention model to ongoing services and supports, including social supports and building community, so that when this program ends, they can remain stably housed and don't fall back into homelessness or return to addiction treatment programs. So on July 1st, we released an RFQ for this round of funding, and those were due on August 5th. We received 10 responses, which are requesting 2.9 million in program funds, and we have $954,343 to allocate. So we are recommending based on the scoring system in the RFQ and what funds were awarded last year. We had a few organizations apply for funds who received program funds last year, so they have an active award. They don't need additional money to continue their award. They can apply next year to make sure they can continually serve households. These applications were to expand their coverage. We preferenced a new award that would bring additional coverage to Marion County, which is an area where we've not seen a lot of interest in this before, and ahead of those awards that would expand existing coverage. So we have four, otherwise they are awarded or recommended based on scoring. So we have four organizations in Table A that we are recommending for those awards, and then applications in Table B that we would recommend did not be awarded. And I'll pause for questions.
Any questions? I would be remiss if I didn't mention for this and the prior items we were discussing, how pleased the Lieutenant Governor would be to see this kind of work being done to help support folks who are experiencing mental health and addiction issues. So really appreciate all of that work in all those areas. Supportive housing. All right. We will hear your resolution.
Great. Staff respectfully requests that the board approve the following resolution. Resolve that the board approve an aggregate award of Indiana Housing First Program funding in the amount of $954,343 to the four organizations set forth in Table A as recommended by staff.
We have a resolution. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll be
Andy
ready.
Place motion. Go ahead, Abby.
No, I'll be ready. Motion to approve.
Andy Place second.
We have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Mark Pascarella,
Aye.
Avi Reddy,
Aye.
Michael Schaffmeyer,
Aye.
Andy Place,
Aye.
Chad Breiwe.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, please welcome Emily Castro, who will now present the bond volume 4% credits Cumberland Crossing Board member.
Good morning, board.
Morning.
Today I'm presenting a funding recommendation for two developments in our non-competitive bond round. Both developments are requesting multifamily tax exempt bond volume, 4% LIHTC, and a development fund loan. We've been accepting applications in this round since April 9th. These applications are the first two to have successfully made it through our threshold and scoring review process. The first project I'm presenting is Cumberland Crossing. Cumberland Crossing is a 232 unit rehabilitation in Fishers proposed by Virgin Health Development LLC. It consists of 15 residential buildings as well as a community center. This development is unique in its planned use of solar panels to power its HVAC system and other energy needs on the property. This application has undergone our due diligence process and meets all threshold requirements and the minimum score. Staff recommends the allocation of $27,830,000 in bond volume, $1,939,471 in annual LIHTC, and a development fund loan in the amount of $500,000 to Cumberland Crossing Fishers for Cumberland Crossing. Pause for questions.
Any questions from the board? Okay. Hearing none, we will hear your resolution.
Staff respectfully requests that the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding $27,830,000 in bond volume, $1,939,471 in annual LIHTC, and a development fund loan in the amount of $500,000 to Cumberland Crossing Fishers LP for Cumberland Crossing according to the terms of the 2025 AV application round as recommended by staff.
We have a resolution. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Mark Pascarella approve. Move to approve.
We have a second.
Andy Place second.
We have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Mark Pascarella,
Aye.
Avi Reddy,
Aye.
Michael Schaffmeyer,
Aye.
Andy Place,
Aye.
Chad Breiwe,
Aye.
Ann Valentine, aye. The motion carries.
Thank you.
You again, Emily Castro, presenting the bond volume 4% credits Rosedale Hills board member.
Yes. The next project I'm presenting is Rosedale Hills. Rosedale Hills is a 132 unit development with both new construction and rehabilitation proposed by Rogers Development Group and Strategic Capital Partners. The rehab portion consists of 5 existing residential buildings. The developer will construct 3 new residential buildings and a community clubhouse. This application has undergone our due diligence process and meets all threshold requirements and the minimum required score. Staff recommends the allocation of $16,500,000 in bond volume, $1,493,056 in annual LIHTC, and a development fund loan in the amount of $500,000 to Rosedale Multifamily Partners LP for Rosedale Hills. I will now pause for questions.
Do we have any questions? Hearing none, we will hear your resolution.
Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding $16,500,000 in bond volume, $1,493,056 in annual LIHTC, and a development fund loan in the amount of $500,000 to Rosedale Multifamily Partners LP for Rosedale Hills according to the terms of the 2025 AV application round as recommended by staff.
We have a resolution. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Bobby, ready? Motion to approve?
Andy, place.
A motion and a second. I will call the roll. Mark Pascarella.
Aye.
Avi Reddy.
Aye.
Michael Shopmeyer.
Aye.
Andy Place.
Aye.
Chad Brywe.
Aye.
And Valentine, aye. Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Evelyn. Next up, please welcome Greg Glassley, who will present the Energy Assistance Program Allocation Board Memo.
Good morning, Board. Greg Glassley, Director of Energy and Utility Program. I was fortunate enough a few months ago to kind of give you all an update on the Energy Assistance Program. And at that point, talked about federal funding, the different levels, the dates of release, and just a quick recap. This program here is about $45 million less than we had last year to administer the program. So with that, provided different challenges. But we received a release of funds on June 25th. So HHS, Health and Human Services, released a little over $1 million to Indiana for the Energy Assistance Program. And that brought the total regular award to $82,278,680 for that program year. Additionally, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act provided a little over $2 million also for the Energy Assistance Program. So typically, what happens is when we get a tranche of funding like that, we run it through the board allocation or the board approved allocation table, and everybody gets a little bit of their money. At this point, based on the timing of the program year being closed, application period ended in May. The funding, that last bit of funding was in June. Not every agency needs money. And so we'd like to allocate those funds a little bit differently. So we've identified 4 agencies that still need funds to kind of make it through the end of the program year. So you can see that's a Community Action Program in Bensville and Vanderbilt County, Interlocal Community Action Program, North Central Community Action Agencies, and the John Bonner Community Center. So kind of see in Table A, the community counties that they cover, the dollar amount that they need to get them through the rest of the year. And then the funding source that we hope to use for that. So with that, any questions before I move on?
Any questions from the board? Hearing none, we will take your resolution.
Okay. Staff respectfully requests that the board approve the following resolution. Resolve that the board approves LIHTC funding to local service providers who have requested additional funds to fully meet benefit obligations for the 2024 Energy Assistance Program, not to exceed $1,052,890 from LI 024, and not to exceed $1,300,000 from IHCDA 24 as set forth in Table 1, as recommended by staff.
Table A.
Table A, excuse me, yes.
That's all right. So to make sure we get it right.
Thank you, yes.
All right, we have heard a resolution. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Move for approval, Mike Shopmeyer.
Andy, place second.
We have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Mark Pascarella. Avi Reddy.
Aye.
Michael Shopmeyer.
Aye.
Andy Place.
Aye.
Chad Brywe.
Aye.
And Valentine, aye. The motion carries.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very much.
Greg. Please welcome Tina Darling, who will now present the CSBG Community Collaboration Awards Board Memo.
Thank you. I have 2 board memos to present to you today.
Yes, you do.
I am Tina Darling. I am the manager of the Community Services Block Grant at IHCDA. The first one is for our community collaboration awards, where we would like to use $45,000 of the allowable discretionary portion of fiscal year 2024 CSBG funds to award 3 community collaboration grants in the amount of $15 each. With these awards, each agency will take the lead in addressing an issue or issues in their respective service areas by convening public events, initiating a new partnership, or building on an existing one. The ultimate goal of these awards is to see systems change and/or increased awareness at the community level. Through a competitive application process, 3 proposals were received, reviewed, and scored by a team of IHCDA staff. Proposals were evaluated on a variety of measures, including their capacity to convene the partners to achieve the intended outcomes and the potential impact of the proposed program. Exhibit A to this board memo outlines each agency's proposed effort, along with a map showing the specific counties to be impacted. Based on the review and scoring, all 3 agencies submitted viable projects for this award, and they are Community Action of Southern Indiana, JobSource, and TriCap. With that, I'm happy to take questions.
Do you have any questions? Tina, we will hear your resolution.
Thank you. Staff respectfully requests the board to approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approved awarding 2024 CSBG discretionary funds in an aggregate amount not to exceed $45,000 as set forth in Table A to implement CSBG community collaboration projects as recommended by staff.
We have a resolution. I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval, Mike Schotmeyer.
Andy Place, second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll call the roll. Mark Pascarella,
Aye.
Avi Reddy,
Aye.
Michael Shopmeyer,
Aye.
Andy Place,
Aye.
Chad Brywe,
Aye.
and Valentine, aye. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Mhm.
The second one is for our planning grants for program design and implementation. We would like to use $180,000 of the allowable discretionary portion of fiscal year 24 CSBG funds to award 3 agency planning grants for program design and implementation in the amount of $60,000 each. Working with an independent contracted consultant, each agency will focus on the redesign of a current program's processes with an intended outcome of maximizing service delivery to their constituents. Through a competitive application process, 4 proposals were received, reviewed, and scored by a team of IHCDA staff. Proposals were evaluated on a variety of measures, including their ability to implement proposed plans to achieve the intended outcomes within the provided timeframe and the potential impact of their proposed plans. Exhibit A to this board memo outlines each agency's proposed effort along with a map showing the specific. Based on the review and scoring, 3 agencies submitted and they are Community Action of Southern Indiana, Lincoln Hills Development Corporation, and Northwest Indiana Community Action Agency, who is now doing business as Co-Action. Do you have any questions?
Any questions from the board? Hearing none, we will hear your resolution.
Thank you. Staff respectfully requests the board to approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approves awarding 2024 CSBG discretionary funds in an aggregate amount not to exceed $180,000 as set forth in Table A to implement CSBG agency planning grants as recommended by staff.
We have a resolution. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Mike
Avi Reddy.
Schotmeyer, move for approval, Mike Schotmeyer, second.
We have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Mark Pascarella,
Aye.
Avi Reddy,
Aye.
Michael Shopmeyer,
Aye.
Andy Place,
Aye.
Chad Brywe.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Thank you, Nina. Please welcome a recurring favorite, Richard Harcourt, who will present the Cherry Tree Bond recommendation.
Madam Chair, good morning.
Morning.
I have 2 recommendations here. They all have the same commonality, right? They are a request for tax exempt issuance on multifamily projects. You all approved these in the 2023 AB round in November of 23, and they are, of course, non-recourse to IHCDA. As Madam Chair referenced, the first is Cherry Tree Apartments, located in Washington, Indiana, 96 units. multifamily, 60% AMI, new construction, requesting $10,712,976 in tax exempt non-recourse issuance.
Any questions from the board on this one? We will take your resolution.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve the Series 2024 multifamily housing revenue notes, parentheses, Cherry Tree Court Apartments, dash Phase 3 project, close parentheses, pursuant to the resolution attached hereto as Exhibit A and is recommended by staff.
We have a resolution. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Move for approval, Mike Schotmeyer.
I will take the motion from Michael and
Mark Pascarella, second.
second from, so we go from like rapid fire to waiting for it. All right.
We're all
We-
jumping at the chance.
I will now call the roll. Mark Pascarella,
Aye.
Avi Reddy,
Aye.
Michael Schotmeyer,
Aye.
Andy Place,
Aye.
Chad Grywey,
Aye.
chair votes aye, the motion carries. Next, this is your Turtle Creek bond recommendation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is Turtle Creek North project located in Indianapolis, 317 units, multifamily, 50 to 60% AMI, combination new construction and rehab. Again, non-recourse tax exempt issuance in the amount of $28 million.
Any questions? I will entertain a motion to approve.
Mark Pascarella, motion, move to approve.
Need a resolution first.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
I just follow in order.
Thank you for the gentle correction. We will hear your resolution.
Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolve that the board approve the Series 2024 multifamily housing revenue notes, parentheses, Turtle Creek North project, close parentheses, pursuant to the resolution attached hereto as Exhibit A and is recommended by staff.
I will now take a motion to approve.
Move to approve, Mark Pascarella.
Do we have a second?
I'll be ready. Second.
We have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Mark Pascarella,
Aye.
Avi Reddy,
Aye.
Michael Schotmeyer,
Aye.
Andy Place,
Aye.
Chad Grywey,
Aye.
and Valentine. Aye, motion carries.
Your last one.
And then now the last one. Here we go. The IHCDA 100-2 apartment bond recommendation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Located in South Bend, Indiana, 72 units, age restricted, 60% AMI. It's new construction. Again, approved in the 2023 AB round. Request for tax exempt non-recourse financing in the amount of $10,200,000.
Any questions? We will hear your resolution.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Resolved that the board approve the Series 2024 multifamily housing revenue notes, parentheses, IHCDA 100-2 project, close parentheses, pursuant to the resolution attached here to as Exhibit A and is recommended by staff.
We have a resolution. I will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll be ready. Motion to approve.
Mark Pascarella, second.
We have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Mark Pascarella,
Aye.
Avi Reddy,
Aye.
Michael Schotmeyer,
Aye.
Andy Place,
Aye.
Chad Grywey,
Aye.
chair votes aye, motion carries.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. Next up, please welcome Samantha Spurgel, who will now present the Healthy Homes Resource Program update.
My name is Samantha Spurgel. I'm the Director of Real Estate Strategic Initiatives and Engagement. Wearing a different hat today to provide a really exciting update on our Healthy Homes Resource Program. I do want to thank our Healthy Homes Resource teams, our Healthy Homes Resource Manager, Katie Kaufman, our Healthy Homes Weatherization Cooperation Demonstration Grant Manager, who is pining that we find a new title for her.
Oh, please, please.
And Priya Edwards, our Healthy Homes Analyst. Without their dedication and their passion for this program, we would quite frankly not be successful. So I'm going to start with, what is a healthy home? So a healthy home is a safe, clean, and comfortable living environment that supports the physical, mental, and social well-being of its occupants. So the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, who is our primary funder for this program, for all of our programs, defines healthy homes through these 8 primary principles. Our programs then are tasked with ensuring that the units that we work on meet these requirements as we then address various health hazards. And I'm going to talk about 3 specific hazards that we frequently work through. The first is lead paint. So in the United States, the use of lead paint was illegal up until 1978. Approximately 55% of all of our housing stock in the state of Indiana was built prior to 1980. So the majority of our housing stock does have lead paint. And we see this in 3 primary ways. So the first is, as the pictures show, chipping paint. We see this typically on the exterior of homes. Second is through lead dust, and we typically would see this when you have a component that rubs against another component, such as a windowsill or a door. A lot of that dust can also come in from the outside and be tracked into your home, onto your floor, your furniture, and most importantly, toys for children. And the last is within soil. We see this again through that chipping paint and that dust in garden beds and in playgrounds. We know that there is high risk. We tend to see a lot of data that older housing is primarily or can be occupied by areas with higher poverty rates or older communities with lower income populations. What's scary about lead paint is there's no taste nor smell, and it doesn't break down on its own, so it has to be removed for it to be safe. So the impacts on lead on children, if anyone has ever had a young child, we know that they put everything in their mouths. I have a 9-month-old, everything goes in her mouth. It's important to note that there is no safe level of lead. The CDC, they consider a child to be lead poisoned when they have what's called a 3.5 milligram per deciliter blood level. We approximate that 500,000 children in the US are at or above that reference point. There are no immediate or outward signs of that lead exposure, but over time, we have seen in studies that there are significant impacts to the neurological development of children, and we've actually seen studies that behavioral problems in adulthood are linked to lead exposure in childhood. Next slide. So the second hazard that we address with our programs is radon. Radon is a radioactive noble gas produced by the frigid uranium. It comes through any type of foundation, and the picture here shows all the different methods in which radon can leak into a home. It's easily inhaled and deposited into your lungs. Much like lead, there's no smell, taste, or color. And we approximate that there are 21,000 radon-related lung cancer deaths yearly. It is the second leading cause of lung cancer after smoking in the United States. So lastly, asthma triggers. So many of you may know asthma is a chronic inflammatory disease that affects lungs, causing those airways to narrow and swell. And we know that there are numerous environmental hazards that can trigger asthma. So those include pets, bringing dirt into your home, mold, as seen in the picture, and moisture intrusion, pest infestation, so cockroaches, mice, and then dust mites, which may come in with those pests. So why does any of this matter? I've talked a little bit about our aging housing stock. In 2022, we had just over 6,700 of Indiana children tested for an elevated blood level, and it had shown that they were lead poisoned. Over 200 of those children had an elevated blood level above 10.5 milligrams per deciliter. Over 10% of adults and 7% of children have asthma in Indiana. 41% of those cases are families that make less than $35,000 a year. And then lastly, almost 1 out of every 3 homes in Indiana is estimated to have a radon level above 4 picocuries. Ironically, this also matches our findings with our program when we do radon testing in our units. So I pulled this from the State Department of Health website. They do have a really fantastic dashboard that tracks the total number of children tested and those that do have a confirmed elevated result. I do want to note really 2 really important points about this data. So the first is that there was a change in state law in 2023 that actually changed the level in which the state of Indiana considered a child to be lead poisoned. So prior to 2023, the state's level was 5 milligrams per deciliter. It is now following the guidance from CDC at 3.5 milligrams per deciliter. The second big change was the requirement now for children ages 1 and 2 to get lead tested. And I do want to let folks know that it's free to get your child lead tested in the state of Indiana. Previously, it was only required if your family was receiving Medicaid. Knowing those two key points, we can then infer that while we see 68,000 children being tested and around 1.3% of children having that elevated result, we anticipate those numbers going up. The last time this data was taken was in 2022. So with that new legislation, we anticipate those numbers growing. Next slide. So with that, what do we do with all the information? And so we're really excited that we were able to create our Healthy Homes Resource Program. So our mission is to provide repairs, tackling those healthy homes hazards to rental and occupied homes at no cost to those owners. And to really think through a holistic approach to attack multiple hazards, not just put a Band-Aid on the house, but actually get to the health crisis that family may be having. Slide. So we first applied for funding back in 2017 through a competitive round through the Office of Lead Hazard Control and Healthy Homes through HUD, and we were successfully awarded $3.4 million. So that program design is a little bit different than what we do now. We targeted 4 cities within Indiana, including the city of Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, South Bend, and Evansville. And through that, we were able to complete 51 units. The picture on the left is one of my favorite projects. This is St. Lucas Place in Evansville. This is a property that houses families who are chronically homeless. And we were able to, it took us a year and a half to get this project done, but we were able to replace all of the windows, address all of the lead hazards, and also clean the soil around the playground for the children, as well as do some healthy homes work, particularly around accessibility for those families. So today we have 3 different grant programs under our umbrella totaling over $8 million to address those health hazards throughout the state. So the first is our Healthy Homes Production Grant, which is $2 million. That is a statewide program. Our Lead Hazard Reduction Grant Program, which is $5.1 million, also statewide. And then our Weatherization Cooperation Grant, which is a $1 million pilot in Marion County. So our program requirements, so this is for our HHP and LHR grants. All participants must be at or below 80% of the guaranteed income. Under our Healthy Homes grant, we follow the HUD priorities, really looking at families be aging in place, so 62 years or older, persons who have someone in the household with a disability, or any family that has a child under the age of 18. Our team is also elected to give priority to units that have no working water source or no source of heat or cooling. For lead, our lead grant, those requirements are a little more prescriptive, so the housing must be built prior to 1978. And they have to either have a child under the age of 6, a child under the 6 who frequently visits, or a person in the household who is pregnant. And we do triage all of our families that we get referrals from either the State Department of Health, local health departments, or DCS. And we immediately begin that enrollment for those families. So every unit, once enrolled in our program, will receive a Healthy Homes assessment, a lead inspection risk assessment, and a radon test. If we're able to move forward on the unit, we will then also do all the intervention work and then give them that final inspection and clearance report so that family has all that information. We work with our contractors to develop scope of work. We do have cost estimates, so we can go back and ensure that those costs that those bids that we get back are reasonable and meet the cost reasonable test. Every single scope of work and cost estimate is reviewed by IHCDA staff. We meet weekly and go over any questions that we have on those bids. We do maintain a statewide bidders list, and I've outlined our different companies that we're very lucky to work with. I will say, we do have a intervention bidders list. It says 8 on the slide. As of last week, it is now 9. So it's really exciting to see the growth of the different contractors that we're able to work with. So examples of our interventions, this may include a lead interim controller abatement, mold removal. We have been able to do some accessibility features, particularly for those Hoosiers that might be aging in place. We have addressed structural issues, particularly around foundations, radon mitigation if the tests come back at or above 4 picocuries, electrical hazards, plumbing, etc. And so this is one of our favorite success stories. This is with Haywood. It was in Indianapolis. With this home, we were able to install a radon mitigation system, replace all 10 windows, and also replace a porch so he could get into his house successfully. And so our very long grant title, our weatherization preparation grant, is a specialized program through HUD that has allowed us to partner with our weatherization team, which is incredibly exciting. So this bridges our HUD Healthy Homes Grant and the Dewey Weatherization Program. Both federal agencies have actively worked together in streamlining the federal regulations that have previously made it very difficult for those two programs to work together. We're the first in the state, or first in the US to do this. We are very unique in that we operate both grant funding. I want to thank Greg Glassley and his team for working with us on this program. He and I were both able to speak nationally on our partnership last year with Dewey and HUD, and we are being promoted as a best practice across the US. So this grant specifically focuses on those asthma respiratory triggers that we mentioned before. We're prioritizing those who are deferred from the weatherization program due to those healthy hazards that without our Healthy Homes funding could not be addressed. And we do actually also have an MOU through the State Department of Health, the asthma prevention team, so we can also triage those families that they may be working with that are exhibiting asthma symptoms. So what is our impact of our program? So this map shows our enrolled units, enrolled being that they have been income qualified for our program. This data was from 2 weeks ago. We now have 88 households enrolled in our programs across 37 counties. We have 38 units completed. Of those, approximately 90% are owner occupied, and just shy of 10% are those with children who may have an elevated blood level. This is our wait list. We have covered almost the entire state of need just based on our wait list. So currently we have 274 families, actually I think it's 288 now, families on our wait lists. These include families that we have not yet reached out to begin the enrollment. We have another 150 to 200 families that we have started the process, but we've not gotten the documents back down yet. Of those on the wait list, 34% are those age 62 or older, 27% have a child between ages 6 and 18, 14% are those with children under the age of 6, and 10% identify as having a household member of a special need. So I'd be remiss to not talk about our partnerships and collaboration. Without these great partners, we would also not be successful. So the first is the Indiana-led coalition. This is a group statewide of attorneys, health departments, and then us talking about how we can coordinate lead work across the state. The second is the Indiana Healthy Housing Roundtable. This is a partnership between IHCDA and State Department of Health, where the two agencies meet quarterly to discuss best practices and how we can promote the different various projects and work that we do. We've also recently, as of the last 2 months, been able to partner with the Department of Pediatrics School of Medicine through IU on a Healthy Homes Technical Study Grant pilot project, where they are looking at training their case managers who work with women who are pregnant with children under the age of 18 months to provide those healthy homes assessments. We did partner with them on applying for federal funding for this pilot. If successful, we will be able to actually provide the healthy homes interventions and also train their case managers on how to successfully do those assessments. It's really great because they can provide the services that we just cannot. We've also been a long partner of the Department of Environmental and Occupational Health through Indiana University. We have served the last several years on their community advisory board and been a partner on their lead technical studies grant. And then lastly, again, the State Department of Health, both the asthma program and the lead and healthy homes division. So contractor capacity is a hot topic for all grantees in that we are always looking for more contractors. For the last several years, we've had a contract with the Indiana Builders Association to offer a renovation, repair, and painting course. Our next course is actually scheduled later this year, if anyone is interested. We do have an open request for qualification on our website for any contractor that is interested in joining our bidders list. And then lastly, several years ago, we created a contractor training reimbursement program. So we will pay out of our grant funds any firm or organization that wants to take any lead certification course and get licensure from the State Department of Health, and we will reimburse them for this cost. We are the first in the US to do this. It's being done by other groups across the US. We've had a few firms actually go through this, and so this is an open application as well for any company that wants to receive those licensures. And then very lastly, for anyone that is interested in knowing more about our programs, we do have informational one-pagers on a pre-application on our website. We're updating some of those one-pagers as well right now. We do have our own email inbox, and certainly our staff is always available for calls. This morning, we were all messaging, trying to problem solve. And so they are constantly thinking about how can we provide the best service to teachers. So with that, I have no asks, but I'm happy to take any questions.
My assumption, since you've mentioned contractor capacity, that's perhaps one of the biggest hurdles for expansion. I mean, obviously, money is always going to be the hurdle, but it's that contractor capacity that might be
Yes.
keeping that wait list where it is.
Correct,
Okay.
yes. So we are trying something new as of this week. We're actually going to be bidding out geographically instead of bidding out unit by unit. So we've had 11 units out for bid yesterday. We have 15 going out either today or tomorrow. So we're going to hope that we'll be able to get more interest from our bidders network. But we'll have to see what happens. We do have some contractors that only operate within very specific regions. And so we're constantly looking for more contractors, either in Northwest Indiana or Southwest Indiana that are interested in our program. There's work.
And when did you, pairing up with the weatherization, when did that, how long have you've been doing this?
So we received our grant in February of this year. So we hope to formally launch our partnership with KG, who's our subrecipient for the grant in Marion County in the next month or so. We've already begun the enrollment process. So we did receive their deferral list. We've already communicated and contacted every single family on their deferral list, so we can begin to income qualify them for our program. And we've had an MOU in place with State Department of Health since January of this year.
Great.
You said there were trouble finding contractors in Northwest and
Southwest Indiana.
So when you bid out contractors, is it in-state only, or like if you're in like Lake County, you bid out to like Chicago area contractors?
So they do have to join our bidders list. They do have to be certified through the Secretary of State's office, and they do have to have a UDI number through the federal government to qualify. And then there's some additional qualifications for contractors laid out in our RFQ. That being said, we do have some really fantastic contractors, and Dave Pugh on my team, he's got 21 years of experience. He's happy to provide technical assistance to anyone that's interested in wanting to join the list, but they're unsure of how to move forward.
So it's not limited, but
Correct.
there are some qualifications.
Yes. And we're also happy to work if there are non-for-profits that are interested in filling that role. They're already working in a municipality where they do construction work. They're also eligible. So there's not a requirement they'd be for-profit or non-for-profit.
More questions? Great work.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, now it's time for Executive Director Jacob Site to give this update for us.
Right, thank you. You might notice we're here at the Marriott, because this is the home for the Indiana Housing Conference this year. And that's in partnership with IHCDA and the Indiana Affordable Housing Council. We host this event in partnership annually. This year we have about 800 attendees who are attending. We have about 28 breakout sessions that are currently happening. Yesterday was a full day, and then today was a half a day when those sessions will wrap up around noon today. This afternoon, it's a day of service that we have some volunteers who'll be going to the Flaner House campus to help with doing some harvesting of fresh produce and things like that. And then also doing some cleanup at the Morning Star Mental Health Center as well. And then that's on site, but off site. I'm sorry, that's off site, but here on site, there's going to be a partnership with Dress for Success. We've been collecting professional clothes, and some of that sorting and things like that are going to happen this afternoon. So as I mentioned, we've got about 28 breakout sessions, everything that's covering from housing finance, building strategies, including modular construction, serviced and rich housing, not-for-profit and for-profit partnerships are taking place. So there's a lot of information flowing here. The opening session was yesterday morning. In that we had a conversation with 4 regional development authorities to discuss their collaboration of using READY to support and invest into housing in the regions. Those regions that we invited that participated yesterday was Northern Indiana Regional Development Authority. They serve South Bend and Elkhart. Our Southern Indiana Regional Development Authority, basically Jeffersonville, Clarksville, New Albany, Charlestown. And then we had East Central Indiana Regional Partnership, which is basically kind of the Muncie, Newcastle, Richmond area region, and then Regional Opportunities, which is the new I-69 corridor, Jasper, Washington, Bedford, and Bloomington, that area down there. So we had a great panel discussion on how they're prioritizing housing strategies and using their READY funds to support that. So that's what's going on here at the housing conference. Yesterday was the awards luncheon for the Lieutenant Governor's Excellence in Affordable Housing. We provided 5 awards related to affordable housing, but also an Outstanding Resident Volunteer Award. That Outstanding Volunteer Award went to Helen Coleman, who is a resident at Hopeside Senior Apartments in Indianapolis. And she created a volunteer committee to engage the residents. She also created and supports a senior happy hour and a Colts game viewing parties that she does. So we recognized her yesterday for her volunteerism in creating a positive environment at her community. So the developments that won the awards yesterday for the senior property is called Baker's Flats. It's located in Evansville. The developer is House Investments. In the urban category, we recognized Hoosier Woods and Anderson. Developer is TWG. Special needs is the North End and Carmel with Old Town Companies. And then for rural, it was Clear Gardens in LaGrange. That was developed by Keller Development. So just a lot going on, a lot of resources, and recognizing some of the great work that's going on in our state housing. So I'm also excited to mention last week we received notice that we received an 811 Project Rental Assistance Award. We were one of only 14 states who received this award. We received about $8 million to assist 142 units for persons with disabilities to ensure that they also have the assistance, but also some supportive services to continue to live independently. So we're excited about that award, especially knowing that there's only a few states that were able to receive that. So. And then lastly, I just want to mention that next month, our board meeting will be in Rushville on September 26th. We'll be at the Rushville City Center. 26.
Okay, actually,
Yeah, I think it's,
Okay.
yeah, today, yeah,
Alright.
so 26.
gotcha.
Today's my second.
Thank you.
But yeah, we'll be in Rushville. They're hosting us, which is exciting. I think we're going to try to also plan to do a walking tour because we have a couple of properties in the downtown, a few blocks from City Center. City Center was part of Creating Places grant that did the facade, the marquee, the new marquee that they have in downtown Rushville, which is also a movie theater as well as part of the city offices as well. So and there's an architect there as well. So all combined in a really nice space. So we're excited to be able to have our board meeting in Rushville. They've been a great partner for us. So with that, I'll turn it over to you. That's my update for
Great.
this month.
Thank you. Anything else, any other business to come before the board? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It is
Aye.
10:04 and we are adjourned. Thank you.